Hello everybody, MegaZardX here. Back at it again to give y'all another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out to just go through my whole entire gaming library. Could be a game, could be a limited edition, could be a console. This is my one time of the week to talk about something off of my shelf. And for today, we're going to be talking about none other than Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Now, this game right here means a lot. And I have a love-hate relationship with Sonic games in general, though. But, dude, man, this is peak Sonic right here, man. Like, there's very few titles out there that I would say that are almost on the level of this right here, though. But man, I had to give it to y'all straight. I just had to go ahead and just let y'all know why this game is so good and how many memories I had associated with this game in general, though. But that's going to be the topic for today's video, though. So if you really like this, make sure you go and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Now, I know this game originally released on the Dreamcast back in the day, though, but I never owned any Sega consoles in general, like the Genesis or the Saturn, or especially the Dreamcast, or none of that stuff. So I managed to get the port that came over here to the GameCube, and that's the copy I managed to have right here in front of y'all today, though. But Sonic Adventure 2, you know, the whole tone for that game was definitely set the moment that Sonic is coming out of a helicopter having some beef with the police because somehow he managed to get captured for a brief moment and decides to jump out of the plane and say, I'll see y'all later, and takes a part of the helicopter and uses it as like a skateboard that's ripping around the city streets like that. No, I was like, what the heck? And the soundtrack, just the whole entire OST of the whole entire game, though, man, it definitely sets a very strong impression right there. Like, that's, you know, just going through that first area right there and not having it be like some standard old Green Hill Zone. Based upon everything that I mentioned, that definitely set the tone for what this game was truly meant to be, though. So obviously, you didn't just have Sonic up in this game, though, but you had like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, some familiar faces, but all playable, at least on the hero side of things. But it wasn't just those three playable characters, though. You also had some other playable characters that are kind of associated on the evil side. So you had, you know, Shadow. Obviously, this is like his number one debut game right here, where I was like, oh yes, this is how edgy Shadow is. And then you had Dr. Eggman and Rouge. So you're going back and forth, basically playing as the hero path as well as the dark path, though. So it's interesting how you had 6 different playable characters throughout this whole entire adventure. And you can play through it all the way through the hero path and get one side of the story. But if you want the complete picture, including like the end game and stuff, you have to go through and play through both. So obviously, you know, a couple of characters managed to play some similar levels. So on one side, you had Sonic and Shadow doing some very similar levels, just speeding through the whole entire courses in the 3D stage. Then you had Tails as well as Dr. Eggman being able to kind of operate in their robot machines and stuff, and being able to kind of navigate through a course and stuff, busting up boxes, shooting missiles at different things, and solving some little puzzles and stuff like that. So then, yeah, you had both of those two characters. And then last and certainly not least, you had Knuckles and Rouge, and they were typically looking for Master Emerald pieces, or kind of a little bit later on in the game, they might have been looking for certain keys and stuff to kind of help progress and get to a new area or something on the lines of that, though. So yeah, so their levels are pretty same, though. But let's start off with Sonic and Shadow levels. Like, I can't say how well that these levels are. Like, I feel like the pacing of it is just right. In some modern Sonic games, such as Sonic Forces, like some of the 3D platforming and stuff, in terms of like just going from point A to point B, the physics, the boost mechanics, stuff like that, you know, I felt like you were going through the level way too fast and there wasn't just enough content. Because sometimes Sonic can go too fast for his own good, and I feel like some of the more modern Sonic games kind of fell victim to that. But at least with Sonic Adventure 2, he's moving at the appropriate speed, and I feel like the levels are long enough where it feels like you're kind of in the level for like, you know, 3 to 5 minutes. It's a solid and memorable 3 to 5 minutes. Like, even from that very first level that Sonic does, or whenever he has to escape off the island before it blows up, like every single one of those levels are pretty memorable, and I can actually remember pretty, you know, pretty fondly. I can remember most of the levels in terms like how I go through and navigate it, whether you go through like high, fast path, or you might go down to the low path that might be a little bit slower though. But I feel like the level structures and just the OST and the overall feel and vibe that the level provided was just so much better in terms of some of these more modern Sonic games, though. Then you turn around and you had the Tails, and then you had the Dr. Eggman levels, which those ones right there felt really good. You had a fairly decent amount of puzzle solving to do up in there. Obviously, you have to bust through a whole bunch of boxes and stuff like that, though, navigating, trying to figure out in the space and stuff. You had a little bit of platforming where you had to use like your little jet engines and stuff, be able to glide from a point A to a point B, though. So it did cause you to have to think, is like, how do I tackle this, or how do I get through here? I have a little bit of problem solving, but a lot of it was a little bit more straightforward though. So I didn't really struggle on those levels at all. Those were just kind of like more relaxing, just trying to, just get through the level though. Now these next ones, oh gosh, by golly. The Knuckles and the Rouge levels. Okay, this is where a lot of the beef starts to come into play though, for most fans of the series though, because obviously, as you're going through and trying to find these Master Emerald pieces, at the very beginning of the game, when you're doing the Knuckles and the Rouge levels, they're pretty easy. They're not overly too complicated or too difficult, but the further you go along and stuff, man, oh man, oh man, it can take you a hot minute to try to find something. Like there was one time I was going through and speed running this game with a couple of friends and stuff, and I was like, dang it, I could not for the life of me find one of these Master Emerald pieces. And to no shock or no surprise, I guess for some oddball reason, the Emerald Radar that is in Sonic Adventure 1, it's better because it actually shows you all three of the emeralds and it says how close you are to each individual one. Whereas when in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, at least, it only shows you the emerald pieces in a certain select order. So you might be right close to emerald piece number 3, but the radar is set for you to find the first one first, then the second, then the third. So that is a somewhat a pretty big flaw, at least within this one version. I don't know why they kind of backpedal and kind of made the radar actually a little bit worse than the first one. That's kind of a head scratcher, unless you're just trying to stretch the level out to be a little bit longer to try to find these emerald pieces in a certain set order though. But man, if you're trying to speed run or just trying to get through those levels kind of fast, oh man, that's always a hindrance stuff. But man, oh man, oh man, that OST for Pumpkin Hill during that one Knuckles stage though, man, that mess hits every time. And I don't think there's usually a Halloween that I don't manage to go through and at least listen to that track at least a couple of times. I'm just saying right there though. So overall, between all three of these different style of levels that you get from all 6 of these different protagonists, it's really cool. And obviously once you go through the hero path and you go through the dark path and stuff, then you can kind of get the overall conclusion path for these games in general though. So overall, I would definitely say that these games are very memorable and close to my heart. I just love the fact of how edgy Shadow is and stuff, and definitely in terms of like just going through all these 3D stages, like there weren't that many. There were a few flaws, like obviously there's not really such a thing as like a perfect game, but in terms of like most Sonic games, like this one's the one I can easily go back to, pick up and play at any given point and still have a fun blast. Like I would definitely say Sonic Unleashed is one of those games, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, obviously, Sonic Colors, like that's just a handful of ones. I know Sonic Generations is fairly good, at least for the 3D style levels. I really like those. Now obviously you have your 2D Sonic, such as like Sonic 2, Sonic 3, some people like CD and stuff like that. Sonic Mania is the most recently good one and stuff. So you have games out there that are really good, but then you have them games like Sonic Forces and Sonic 06 and stuff like that. So I don't know, me and Sonic have a love-hate relationship though, but when the games are good, the games are good, and when they're at the bottom of the barrel, those are the ones I just really don't like to talk about though. But overall, this game hits on a whole bunch of levels right here though. And Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, for me personally, it's definitely an easily top 3 Sonic games right there. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below, what do you think about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and stuff? I didn't even mention about the whole point of the multiplayer and stuff that you can have when you're just racing through with, whether it be like Sonic versus Shadow racing through, or you have like a Dr. Eggman versus Tails fight and stuff. Like there was some good, 2-player, battles and stuff like that you were able to do, at least within this one version of Sonic Adventure 2 though. But yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Do you really love this game? Have you played it? Have you not played it? And if you hadn't played it, gosh, by golly, I don't know what you're doing right here, but you need to, as soon as you're done with this video, you need to go through and play it. I'm just saying though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's video though. So if you really like this, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.